So then, if you look at the old school setup, you had a man of any caliber would wish to get married and he would marry, and those who had the means will have a mistress, okay, because they could afford to. And every now and then, if you look at old movies, you see that the mistress sometimes would say, "Why are you still married?" She knew he was married before he started to get with her, but she would say, she's trying to become the main person. But the man understood the mission that the mistress would never become the main person, would never become the main wife. Okay, fast forward to now, in our time now, what we have is women are exhibiting mistress behavior. You see what I'm saying? The sexual revolution has made women to behave as mistresses, all of them. Okay, now we can't say all because there's some that are good and so forth. I do understand that, but I use in a general sense because the percentage is very high. It's in favor of the majority. So most women have become the equivalent of what the mistress was back then. The one that was the wife at home, she had certain traits that the man could trust. He could hold her down at any given time. Women these days are focused more on, oh, if he does this, I'm gonna do this back. So the feminine traits that the man would protect, even if he had a mistress. I'm using those guys who had money. Not all the men had mistresses, because back then he needed money because the mistress was all about the money, right? So what occurred then is the man would protect his home because he understood, I got a wife, she's doing this and that. Yes, you could look at the mistress as a bad thing, but let's not try to pretend that most men these days do not have more than one woman. Okay, it's just not in an organized fashion, but most do, and y'all know that. So y'all want to focus on cheating. I think that's disingenuous, to be honest. And then to be fair, women have more than one man anyway, so that's why this whole thing doesn't work. But the point I was trying to bring is that the man would have his wife and child or children, and then if he was a man of means, he probably had a mistress per se. Now I'm not saying light of condonement because y'all women like to become hard on this thing, but that was often the arrangement, and this is worldwide. Whether it's Chinese, and I have Chinese friends I can speak from that point. African, I happen to be from there. So the mistress would every now and then test the man to see if she become the main person, but the man would never let the mistress become the main person. Now, thanks to feminism, all women, the majority of women, have become equivalent to mistresses. Men are not gonna marry mistresses. Most of them are behaving like the ladies of the night because there's categories of women. There's the women that men deal with on a casual basis. I see you, I like what you got on, and therefore I'm gonna deal with you that way. But the man will never make the mistake of marrying that type of woman because he understands that does not represent value, and for the most part, he knows that she belongs to everybody. Okay, she belongs to everybody. So the element that women have introduced, where they feel like they'll copy the behavior and the dress code of the ladies of the night and then expect wife treatment. That's not gonna happen. And because men are now used, they say, okay, y'all want to be liberated? Okay, we're gonna be liberated with you. We're gonna be liberated. Let's be liberated together. Because men have always chased sex. For the most part, the biggest part, men got married because of the desire to have sex, just to procreate, but to have sex. So now it's available, and the men and women are behaving. The wife category, there's very few. Like you got droplets, and then droplets in the bucket. I'm using a rain analogy here. That's the wife department, and the buckets that have um, ladies of the night or playthings are full. So where are the men going to lean towards? And it doesn't mean that the man should not change his standards, saying, "Oh, you know what? Now I can just marry something that is less than desirable." Men have been the same all the time. As much as we are persecuting men, and women will not succeed at this, they're persecuting men for men saying, "You know what? You're not feminine. You're not this," and he no understands that it's a risk he's taking with dealing with a woman that represents, like a woman of the world, lady of the night, free spirited, whatever it is. Let her be free spirited, as long as I'm partaking in that. But you're not something I can bring home and to represent my image, because as much as men can do things on the side, They know that certain things are very temporal. They hit it and quit it attitude. Women may not like that, but that's the world y'all cultivated. That's the world y'all gifted to men. A lot more access with degrading your own values. So a lot of men are just living in that side of the lane. There's no husband element because to be a husband, I gotta sacrifice. And then women think that they can share men out of this culture when they've developed this culture.